host of Shaping Success, Wes Tankersley.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to Shaping Success. I'm your host, Wes Tankersley. I have got some information today, but before we get started, we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on, what is happening in my life, in the show, and all those things. This is going to go out. I'm going to put this on the podcast. It's going live right now. This is episode 200. Episode 200 of Shaping Success. Episode 200. I just said that again. I have a Patreon, if you guys don't know, and I want to, before I keep going with everything else, make sure that I thank the Patreon that I have, Nikki Pavlovich. She's a Patreon supporter for me, and I appreciate her being supporter number one. I've had a Patreon for a while, haven't pushed it out, but part of being a Patreon is getting a shout out on the show, and we will be doing that. It'll mostly come at the end. I got that idea from my friend Jay, who is in my corner, who's one of my closest people that I talk to every single day. I had a rough go this morning. I had a lot of stuff to work through. And I started thinking about and reflecting on the show and what it does for me and how it helps me and how it helps other people and how people will build from where they start. I've been listening to David Goggins' book, Never Finished. It's a really good book. You Can't Hurt Me. I listened to it before. A very good book. I listen to books while I drive around and while I do my work, and it is what inspires me and what keeps me pushing forward every single day. And there's a lot of lessons learned in this freaking book, and it's amazing what one person can do with their body, what one person can do once they figure out their mind. You know, this podcast, like I said, it's episode 200. This has been going on for 3 years now. It started out as something for me to kind of build a little bit of business in the window covering business that I work in. I thought, I'm going to help people. I'm going to interview them because I always thought people were interesting and try and get to know them and try to get to understand them a little bit more. And maybe I'll glean some information and maybe I'll earn some clients and maybe I'll earn some respect and trust. I was reminded this weekend from my friend Jay that the show is called Shaping Success, but you guys don't follow Shaping Success. You follow Wes Tankersley. You follow me for who I am. And over the last 3 years, I've done interviews and some solo stuff and a bunch of different things. But it seems as though the things that I am most proud of is when people get to listen to me talk. And with an interview, a friend of mine told me, it's kind of an easy way out because you don't have to talk. You don't have to show people who you are. You can interject some information into the situation. You can talk about who you are a little bit and relate how your life relates to your guest. But people don't know who you are. And I think that that's one of the things that I've reflected on over the last month and a half is that I need to learn to show people who I am. And you may not know who I am, and this may be the first time tuning in. This may be the first time that you get to see who I am. The fact of the matter is that I have a lot to give. I do a lot of things. Some people don't understand. People don't see what I do on the backside. So if you follow me on TikTok, you don't know that I have an Instagram. You don't know that I have a Facebook. You don't know that I have a LinkedIn. You don't know that I have a YouTube. You don't know that I sell merch. You don't know that I have people supporting me every single day. You don't understand that thing because all you see is what's going on that platform that you follow. And social media is not an easy thing to do. Podcasting was something that I wanted to get into, and if you knew me in high school, you would be very surprised. If you knew me at a younger age, you'd be very surprised that I would sit here and spill my heart and talk about who I am here. My wife called me, I can't remember what she called. She always told me that I had a cocky jock walk when she first met me. Well, she obviously was attracted to that because we've been married for 22 years, almost 23 now. I was a little bit within myself, and everyone needs to be a little bit cocky. The funny thing that I started thinking about, and as I'm reading through and as I'm seeing these things, there was like 4 things yesterday that David Goggins said in his book that just totally hit me. The first one was, I'm not crazy. I'm just not you. The fact of the matter is that a lot of people will look from the outside and they will see you and they'll see who you are and they will think that either you're crazy, you're never going to make it, you're not going to do it. No one will be there for you. They're afraid to take those steps that you are. They're afraid to push themselves beyond the breaking point. I'm very guilty of this. And I've thought about this over and over again. About 131 days ago, for those of you who have followed along, I started exercising again. And I kind of half-heartedly did it. I just started doing it. Like I rearranged my schedule. I started riding my bike, and I kind of got lost in this 30-minute jump on my bike, spin it out, and go. And I started thinking about it. I'm not pushing myself. So a week and a half ago, I decided, you know what? I'm going to get on this elliptical because I got this elliptical sitting right next to my bike. I had my knee replaced a year ago, and I made these excuses of why I can't do that, because it hurts too much, because it bothers me too much, because there are things that make me just not do it. And it's funny because you see me do the videos. I wake up in the morning, I'll throw a video on TikTok, I'll throw a video on YouTube, I'll throw a video everywhere that I am. If you follow me, you'll know. You'll see them. They'll show up. And you'll know that I am exercising. But what you don't see is the moment, is my bedroom. I'm pointing at my bedroom. It's right over here if you're watching. The moment that I am awake, my eyes open up, I tell myself 5 times I don't need to do it today. I don't want to get up. I'm too tired. I'm going to take a break. But then I think in the back of my mind, this is the hardest thing that I probably have to do today. The hardest thing. And if I cannot get up and do this, how can I get through the rest of the day? It's damn near impossible. So I walk over to the closet, I get my socks, I head down, I put my shoes on, and I get on that damn elliptical. The elliptical, I say now, because I've been doing that for a week and a half. And I sat there and I told myself, this is too hard. This is a lot of work. There's a lot to this. And I'm sore. My knees hurt. I'm old. I'm overweight. That's my fault. But I had 2 choices. I can either change the situation or I can continue living the way I was. And I chose to change the situation. Now, you may think I'm crazy, but, just like I said, I'm just not you. You're not me. Anyone who's watching this, you are your own individual person, and you can do whatever you want. And if someone tells you they're crazy, I think you should just look at them and say that. I'm not crazy. I'm just not you. You are you. Be you. The second thing that, I kind of wanted to work through a little bit, because I've been told this multiple times. And I've even thought it myself sometimes, but then I started to look at it in a light that I don't like. You're an overthinker. You think too much. You worry about things too many times, or you don't get through it. I'm not an overthinker. As a matter of fact, I'm a problem solver. And you have to think about that. You may overthink things, but the problem that you have is when you overthink is, do you get to that destination? So when there's someone who's overthinking something, are they just sitting there saying, I'm not going to do it, 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 and you don't take that action? If you have taken action, if you have started moving forward and taken that action, then you're not thinking about it, you're doing it. And action starts with 1 step. People don't understand that. People don't get that. You talk about action. You think about going on a run. I'm not going to run. Those of you who know me know that I hate running. And I don't want to say lucky for me. My knees are screwed up so bad that there's no way that I could ever run. I could, but it would be detrimental to, got 1 knee already. I don't need another one, and I don't need to replace the one that's good. Is it just an excuse? I don't know, but I wouldn't really choose to run, and I'm okay with being on the elliptical and riding my bike. Stationary bike, not so much, because it's not as fun, but I do it because I have to. The thing is that you are not an overthinker. You're a problem solver. So what are you doing to solve the problem? And that's the thing. Don't get stuck, because the overthinking becomes stuck. That's what happens. You become stuck in the situation when you overthink things. Now, you're not overthinking, but this is what happens with me. I start talking about things in my head, and then I start running the scenarios through. I kind of think of it like Doctor Strange. If you've seen Doctor Strange in Infinity War, okay? You remember how, I don't even know if it's Infinity War, and some Marvel people are going to be pissed because that's the one I'm talking about, but I'm just sitting here thinking about Doctor Strange going through all the scenarios of how they can unsnap the fingers, how they can get things going, and there was only one outcome, right? So you're in constant search for that outcome. What is that outcome going to be? And it's kind of like forming the hypothesis before you actually take the action. So that's what you're doing, right? You're going through each process every single time, and you're whipping through it. Okay. If I go to the right, what happens? Oh, there's a candle over there. I get burned. If I go to the left, what happens? Oh, there's a dog over there. I'm going to get bitten. If I go straight forward, what's going to happen? I make it, right? Those are the scenarios. It's as simple as that. That's what you're thinking about. You're not overthinking it. You're just trying to find the best way to get it done in a timely manner. And my life is that way. I'm a problem solver. I figure out a way, and I do this with my work. I have a process that is very quick, very convenient. And other people who are salesmen in my company have a hard time having a process with something and getting through their day. If I have 4 appointments and I'm not done by the end of the day, there's something that happened that stopped me from doing that, something that got in the way. I walk into the house the same way. I ask the customer what they're looking for. I try not to confuse them. Are you looking for this? Are you looking for that? I'm solving the problem. I'm educating them. And then I figure out what they want. And we've narrowed it down to one product. So I go back out to my truck, I get that product, I show it to them. Now we have selections again. We have choices, right? Picking out a color. Well, what color goes good? Then we start to figure that out. We narrow it down. We got a color. I measure the windows. I go outside. I sell the product. I make the quote, take their money, order the product, file it away. Now I'm ready for the next one. Create processes for what you're doing. You're not an overthinker. You're a problem solver. 99% of hard work goes unseen. That's a tough one, isn't it? That is a tough one, because you sit there and you look at yourself and you're like, I'm working my ass off. I'm working my ass off. And I was reminded of this today. There's people who don't see the work that's going on the inside. Okay. There's people who don't understand that. They don't see what you're doing behind the scenes. They only see what you're doing. Social media is super fickle. You see me right now on this screen talking. You don't see what I had to do to get this to go. You don't see that I had to turn on the light. I had to turn on the roadcaster. I had to make sure all the levels were ready to go. I had to make sure that my settings were set, that my live settings were set, that this is going where it needs to go. And then there's things that you can't see, right? Like, I can't tell if the sound is great right now. It sounds good in my ears, but does it sound good to you? And those are things that happen, and then you have to reform. The fact of the matter is people only see the end result. They don't see the work that you did to get to that end result. They see you finish the mile. They didn't see the 4 laps that you did to get there, right? And so that is hard. That is something that drives me crazy. And I need to let it go. I need to give up on that. There are a lot of things that go unseen. And you have to be understanding of that, but know where that's going. Know what the end result is. And think about that. Don't think about what other people see, and something I'm going to tell you right now, and I've said this millions of times before, because these things are things that I tell myself and I'm preaching to people about what they should do, but I'm working through it too. And it's hard to do. It's not easy, but guess what? It's going to separate you from the next person. Being willing to work on yourself, being willing to build, being willing to be better every single day. So putting in that hard work, putting in the time is 100% necessary. Whether someone sees it happen or not, know that you're on top of it. This next one I really like too. This is something that goes hand in hand with this whole situation. Okay? If 99% of hard work goes unseen, what's the next thing? No one will do the work for you. You got to get off your ass and do the work yourself. No one is going to put in the work. It's not my friends and family and other people's jobs to hold my hand and help me do the work. There's this thing called intrinsic motivation, and there's this thing called extrinsic motivation. When someone is telling you to do something and forcing you to do something, that is extrinsic motivation. Think about that, okay? My dog doesn't want to go for a damn walk, but I am pulling him with the leash. Extrinsic. My dog greets me at the door and wants to go for a walk and is walking alongside me and having a good time. Intrinsic. So you have to want to be better. It has to come from within. If it doesn't come from within, it doesn't mean as much. It's an easy thing to think about. Are you motivated by your own desires? Are you motivated by someone else's desires? And the best type of motivation for me is when I force myself to do it, when it comes from me. I'm overweight. I want to lose some weight. I'm going to do it. I'm not overweight, or someone else tells me, hey, you're fat. That's extrinsic. You're going to go lose weight for someone else. Not because you want to, but because someone else told you should. What do you think is going to last longer? You being willing to do it, or someone else telling you to do it? What's going to last longer? It is much better for that intrinsic motivation that comes from in you. You got to do it for yourself, 100%. This is the last thing that I'm going to say right here, because this is something that I think about on a daily basis. This is the hardest one for me. There's this thing called integrity, right? It's like doing the right thing when no one's looking. Okay? That's what integrity really is. And I've been through this a couple times. I told this story once or twice. But when I first started working out and I first started riding my bike, I got on my bike. I was probably 3 weeks in. I told everyone on social media, I told everyone that I was going to ride my bike for 30 minutes every single day. That's what I was going to do. That is my goal, okay? So I've done this for 2-3 weeks. I go outside. I get on my bike. Set the timer. My alarm clock goes off at 4:30 every morning, whether I get up before it or it wakes me up. Well, this was one of those mornings where I woke up before my alarm went off. I sat in bed, tried to talk myself out of getting out of bed, tried to talk myself out of exercising, but I was going to do it because I told everyone I was going to do it, and I want to do it. But there's still that little voice inside your head that says, don't do it, right? So I go jump on my bike, and I start spinning it out. Spin, right? I got up about 4:11, okay? At 4:30, my alarm goes off. Well, the alarm is the same sound that my timer is. My timer tells me to stop. My timer tells me I hit 30 minutes. I try not to look at it because I could sit there and I could stare at it. I'm almost there. And I don't want to see that. I want to know how far I went after the 30 minutes. I don't want to know before. And like one of the things I do on the elliptical now is I just like watch how long it takes me to do each mile because I know I'm going to do 4. But anyway, the alarm goes off. I get off my bike. I walk into the house, start making my coffee because that's the next thing. That's the next step in my process, my morning routine. Start boiling the water, get ready to pour it into the French press, and I find out my alarm's going off again. And I'm like, what the hell? I look down. It was the timer. The timer went off. Okay? Timer's off. Shit. I didn't ride my bike for 30 minutes. What are the thoughts that go through your head, right? Here's the thoughts that are going through my head. It's all right. I'll do 30 tomorrow. I can't, it'll be fine. I'll do 45 tomorrow. And my head goes, no, you won't. And this is the problem with integrity. It's like integrity won't let you stop. It won't let you finish when you're not finished, right? I turned the coffee off. I turned around and I went back outside and I got back on that bike and I finished the 30 minutes because I could not live with myself if I did not. I'm not crazy. I'm just not you. But I could not live with myself if I didn't do that. And a lot of people would say, oh, you're crazy. You could do it tomorrow. That's not me. And I'm not you. I'm me. So remember that. I could have got off that bike. No one would have known. No one would have said anything. But if I didn't do it, I didn't do it. And I couldn't live with myself. So that's all there is to it. No one will do the work for you. Remember that. No one will do the work for you. This last one hits home for me. Okay? Don't sacrifice who you are to meet others' needs. Don't do it. Don't sacrifice who you are to meet others' needs. Now, there's people from the outside looking in that can tell you that what you're doing is wrong, that can tell you that you're not doing the right thing, that can have all kinds of suggestions and no idea how to take action. And when you are taking the action that you need to take in order to meet the needs that you are trying to meet, don't sacrifice that. If you know in your heart that what you are doing is correct, then have tunnel vision. Do not let other people make those decisions for you. Do not let other people direct you off of your path, just like we're talking about. I can go to the right, there's a hot candle. I can go to the left, there's a dog that's going to bite me, and there is that path that I know I need to stay on. A funny story about that, okay? There's a logo right there behind me. Sorry, I got kind of quiet. If you're watching this, you can see it. That's my logo. You know, you can see it in the beginning of the show. You can see it on the merchandise that I sell. You can see it on stickers. You can see it anywhere. Shaping success means something to me, okay? If you look at it, the logo, it's like a Superman shield, but it's also like a home plate because I was a big diehard Superman fan. I still am. Sad to see Henry Cavill not be Superman anymore. I think that's ridiculous, James Gunn. You're making a huge mistake. But that's beside the point. It also looks like a home plate to me because baseball meant so much to me growing up. It taught me so many things. And you know what? I was a terrible baseball player. As a matter of fact, if you haven't read the blog yet, this is going to be in the blog soon. I quit Little League. I was 10 years old. I was on the Little League team. The coach was terrible. I wasn't well-adjusted. I'm a 10-year-old. I'm not like I am now because I would be a completely different player. But I was 10 years old, and I felt like I wasn't getting playing time. I felt like it wasn't fair. I felt like a lot of things, and then I didn't play baseball again until I was 12 or 13 years old. One person can ruin that experience for you, and this coach had ruined that experience for me. But when I got back there, when I ended up back playing baseball again, my dad's like, "You want to play this year?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's give it a whirl." I was an 11-year-old on the minor leagues, which at that point I should have been in the major leagues. I should have been in the big Little League. And I needed a little extra help because I didn't play. And I came back, and I was pretty good. I was actually, I was one of the best minor league players. That's not saying much. And the next year I was in the majors, and I was pretty good. Not as good as everyone else, but the game of baseball teaches you so much. And we talked about this. I think I talked about this. AJ's in the chat room right now, and we talked about life throwing you curveballs because we get these curveballs all the time, right? And this is an easy lesson for baseball, right? A fastball comes at you and you're swinging as hard as you can. You know, you think about a pitcher throwing a fastball as hard as they can. Now, a fastball is usually straight and they're trying to get it across the plate. So a good fastball is going right across the plate. It's going so fast that you swing so hard that you can't hit it. But it is an easy pitch to hit. Okay? They throw something off speed, like a curveball. And those of you who know baseball, you know, you get a curveball and it makes a big loop and it comes in a lot slower than a fastball, but it has a good pitcher will throw the fastball, you know, across the plate, or a curveball across the plate, and have the same arm action that they have with fastball, but the ball comes a lot slower and then it kind of makes a curve, right? So it drops down. So you have to make an adjustment. And that adjustment is like when a fastball's coming, you're swinging as hard as you can, right? When a curveball comes, you have to be patient. You have to sit back and let the ball arrive so that you can hit it, right? So essentially you're making your swing late, which if you're a right-handed hitter and you're hitting a fastball, you're a pull hitter, it's going to go to the left. But if you're sitting back and you're waiting for it to get there, your swing is a little bit later and it's going to go to the right. You hit it the opposite field. It's called making adjustment. Most MLB players don't make adjustments anymore. They just try and hit their best pitch and don't care about anything else because they want to hit it out of the park. But you have to make that adjustment with a curveball to hit it. You have to sit back. You have to let it travel. With a fastball, you don't. One more thing I'd leave you with is if you think about this. Baseball is a game of failure, right? We have a hard time with failure. We have a hard time deciding that we can fail and continue to push forward. So you walk up to the plate and you strike out. Failure. You have to get back into the game, right? You have to go back up to bat and you have to make an adjustment based on your previous at bat. Or you can sit there and you can stew on the fact that you struck out and strike out again. And we all know what a really good batting average is in baseball. We might not, but 300 is a really good batting average. 300. Let's put that into perspective. 3 out of 10 pitches you hit. 3 out of 10 pitches you hit. 3 out of 10 pitches. That sounds like a failing grade to me, but that is a good batting average. Lessons learned. People have told me that I should change that logo, and that's where I was going with that. That doesn't look, they don't understand. That logo's not cool, that's not this, that's not that, blah, blah, blah. In the middle of that logo, you can see my signature intertwined in that. People have said, that's not your signature. Well, as a matter of fact, that is my signature. I decide what my signature is, right? It may not look like what you think it looks like, but that's it. That's it. That's my signature. So I don't care. I'm not going to stop being who I am because you told me that that's not what it looked like. Don't sacrifice who you are to meet others' needs. You know, I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me, and I want to thank you along this journey. Like I told you in the beginning of this is episode 200, and I look forward to 200 more. I look forward to many, many more. And that is the thing. I am not quitting. I'm not stopping. I'm not going anywhere. And these are my core things that I'm talking about right now. These are the things that are going to keep me going every single day. And think about how you can use those in your life, and think about how you can build yourself by using these core principles. Think about that on a daily basis, because you are more than what other people know. Judgment is stupid. People make decisions based on their past experiences, not yours. So remember that. Again, thank you for hanging out. This is Shaping Success, and you're going to see a lot more of me talking this way because you need to know who I am. Because I can't sit here and tell you things when you don't know why. So remember that. Again, go join the Patreon. Hit me up for merch. Follow me everywhere there is. I can't make this any bigger without your help. Wanted to thank my Patreon supporter, Nikki Pavlovich. She's in the chat room right now. Appreciate you supporting me on Patreon. You get a shout out if you're a Patreon. Join it up. There's 3 different tiers. Go hang out. Go check it out. If you want to be a business supporter, if you want to support the show, if you want to be a sponsor, let me know. Easiest way to do it is with Patreon. Until next time, I challenge you to find the shape of your success.